We live, baby.
Yo,
Yo.
We
what's
are
up?
live.
All right, we're live.
You already know what it is. StreamSpace podcast episode number 9. You already know who I am, Savage Royale.
DJ Just Will.
We got a special guest in the building today,
Toby Griffiths.
Toby Griffiths. I must say that I was at work trying to practice saying your last
That
name.
last name, yeah.
The F against the TH is crazy.
Well, see, it's the TH, yeah, the TH with the S, and it's like Andy Griffith. They dropped the S, but for whatever reason, we just kept it to be redundant on you.
I will challenge you every single time you say my name.
Right, and it's got the double F, so
That's
yeah,
right. That's right.
It's a mouthful.
Man, so you're a Cleveland native, yes?
That's right. Yep.
Born and raised?
Born and raised.
From the Cleveland, the CLE.
The CLE
216. That's
Yep.
right, the land.
The land. That's it. Thief land.
What's the best Cleveland nickname? Is it 216? Is it the land?
I used to roll with. I like the land. I think the land is appropriate. I used to roll with Thieveland. Back in the day, we used to call it Poor Cleveland because that was when the stats came out, and at that time we were the poorest city, so we used to rep Poor Cleveland.
Yeah, we weren't the highest on the list.
Right. We always get the top of all the worst lists.
Yeah, exactly. That's for sure.
Man, so we always have to start where it all started.
Yeah.
Let's go back to young Toby.
Yeah, young Toby.
What got you inspired on the art side?
Let's see. So, just coming up, surrounded by, I feel like my mother had a lot to do with it in facilitating my creativity. And I just remembered, from a young age, she would do things like build plaster volcanoes. So I could set up my dinosaurs with the plaster volcanoes and all these kind of little sets. And but then so I was just from an early age drawing dinosaurs, really into dinosaurs, the whole nine, dragons, always drawing stuff. Then I got into comics. So I feel like, I know that's kind of like the route a lot of people take is like you get into comics when you're young. You got your Spider-Man, you got your X-Men, you just freaking out as a kid. Started drawing from those. I got really big into one specific comic called Spawn. And
we know about Spawn.
Yeah, so I felt like Spawn was that was different, man. And Al Simmons, and so Spawn hit so hard for me. The toys came out with McFarlane.
They had fire toys.
Yeah, they had the most fire toys. Yeah. So that set my mind on another imagination plane, and then just a lot of drawing and comics. Then as I got older, kind of got into the graffiti side of things and was really interested in graffiti writing and making some fire letters with the characters, getting into the spray paint and all that. That was probably when I was in high school, and was always in a sketchbook drawing, doing different things, developing characters.
Right, your own characters. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and then from there, that I took a painting class in high school, and my mother was an artist too, and my aunt comes from a very creative family.
Okay.
And so I was exposed to a lot of contemporary, modern performance pieces when I was young because my aunt Lila Voss and my uncle Bruce Edwards, they were always doing they were doing that stuff, that conceptual stuff that
They were painters themselves?
They no, not necessarily. They're more conceptual artists coming out of they're coming out of more of a conceptual side of things. And so, I remember one show my aunt had just moved into a building in Tremont. This is before Tremont kind of blew up. This is when the first artists were kind of getting into that space, and they were just doing this performance piece, which was them running up and jumping against the side of the wall. So I'm seeing stuff like that, trying to put it together in my mind. But so there was that. But then my mom is just in general really creative, really artistic, and so they were just supporting it, and I took the painting class in high school, and then I'm just looking into getting into. We talked about Basquiat earlier.
Oh yeah,
that was a big one when I was younger. But at the same time, I always loved the classics like Leonardo. you know, the whole Ninja Turtles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And then, but that just combining, you know, then, you know, get out of high school. I've got a little chops in painting, but mostly just in sketchbooks, drawing, just, you know, doing experimental things, you know, in my time. Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a very long journey that takes a lot of turns.
It does.
Seems like every so often, like every certain like maybe 3 or 4 years, there's like a news change. You know, where the graffiti to the Basquiat to the, you know, just had like different stages.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything in your circle, everywhere you went, there was art there, right? So it's different inspirations there.
For sure. And like, you know, so like, yeah, when I was, you know, younger, I was way more interested in abstract art, you know, and just like shapes, colors, you know, texture and things like that. So yeah, there was really, you know, anywhere I wanted to go, I was able to go, you know, and just, but at the same time, I was more abstract. I still wanted to be able to, you know, draw things representationally, you know, and kind of master that skill of like being able to just sit down and draw what I was looking at.
It's crazy because like when I was going through like your pictures on your profile and everything, all the things that you just talked about, you can see those influences in your art.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, so then I get out. I'm kind of before I go to. I eventually go to the Cleveland Institute of Art and graduate with painting, in painting. But before you know that, I kind of floated and experimented on my own side of things in sketchbooks. Did a little bit of painting. Was very much more in an abstract conceptual space at that time. And then when I went to the institute. I would spend a lot of time in the library, both at the Institute's library, and there's a library called the Kelvin Smith Library. It's Case's library. It's got the movable shelves, and it's top, man. It's top of the line, this library, Kelvin Smith Library. You can find anything in this library.
Yeah.
You want some old esoteric manual, like you're gonna pull it up. You know what I mean? And so I would spend a lot of time there, and then that's when like I was still in this more abstract painterly space, but then that's when I discovered this painter Nicolas Poussin. So he's like a Baroque era, which was right after the Renaissance, but he was a little contra to his era because at that time the big painter was Caravaggio. And Caravaggio is painting like he's more close up on the subject. It's very dramatic. And it's got that light and darkness. Okay, so it's very contrasty, and he uses actually for his subjects. He'd use like a prostitute to pose, you know, and then later like the Impressionists would get into that. But like back in the day, he would just find people off the street,
Whoever I can get.
That's right, bring them into a studio and pose them.
You on the corner, get over here.
That's it, exactly, right? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I like your face. Come on.
I like the way you was walking. Come on.
Yeah, right. So he would bring them into the studio, but Poussin was working very different than that. He was more of like coming from the classical Raphael, where they're looking at like, you know, Greek sculptures and like looking at all the proportions and everything like that. So his was much more laid out in this theatrical manner. And the figures are, you know, there's more the figures are smaller in the picture plane, so you see like everything going on in the scene. And from studying that is kind of where I learned how to go into the digital pieces and lay out and create that space, you know what I mean? And just going back to like, it's just simple stuff like 1 point perspective, you know, mathematical perspective. That's big. Just lay out the grid. You know what I mean?
I was just about to say that the grid and how you use the grid in your pieces to kind of suggest depth.
Yeah, exactly.
With these 2D
two
images.
Exactly. So that's the thing, is like it's all about this like this play between like the flat, the two-dimensional, but then the way you if you take the grid and you put the grid into perspective, our mind is gonna automatically imagine that okay,
it's a 3D type
it's the
thing.
3D type
And you
thing,
can look
you
at
know.
that. Yeah, I'm like, this is dope. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like, but yeah, these guys they were clever, you know, and it's really just like a trick, you know. And but that is part of it. That's kind of like how we build pictures, how we read images, you know, and that ties into like the way we make meaning out of things. So that just kind of wraps it all up with a bow.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you definitely, I can tell, like artist, but definitely a student of the game.
Student of the game, man. Student of the game, you know, and you know it's they say you know you're on the shoulders of giants. That's why you can see so far. And like you know, whenever I compare myself to these guys, it's a different era, so we operate differently. And
Yeah.
and we have different tools. But like I'm always looking back at those guys, and those guys were looking back. You know, they were looking back to the Greeks and like how they did it. You know, as far as the sculptures and everything. So we kind of always are looking back to
Yeah.
to those, whether it's real or not, but like those examples.
Yep, and it's always like, cause we talk about music a lot here, but you know the timelessness of those artists, right? You know,
Right.
it's a reason why we still go and we still study them, and we go and their art is still here hundreds of years later.
It's like you sampling, and you can't sample and not at some point go back and study Jay Dilla.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna happen.
You know, and
Like you just have to.
Yep.
absolutely, and I'm so glad you brought that up because in a way, like that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I'm sampling these things, and it's the way that like it's like the way we tie ourselves into art history or just history in general, and it's the way we kind of skip that stone. So like I think of it like skipping the stone. So like when Jay Dilla samples something, you know, iconic, he skips it down further for the next generation, even though it may be buried or it may be encoded. So maybe you know someone today wouldn't be able to recognize that sample, but still it's in the bloodstream.
It's
You
in
know,
there.
it's
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing how we were even talking before, how many correlations there is with music and art in terms of like how you do your art and how you do your craft and how a musician or a producer may do their art, you know, because there are a lot of correlations with like textures and
Absolutely.
layers and
Yes.
depth, you know,
Yes.
but those terms can relate to music and like visual painting as well, you know, and maybe that's why you see a lot of painters, you know, in some way are right there doing music, you know.
So I can tie it right back. So my man Poussin, like that's my heart. I love him. But he actually equated his paintings to the modes.
See?
So he would say, all right, this a guy tried to test him and be like, I like this painting that you painted for this guy more than the painting you painted for me. This one seems dark. That one seems so like a celebration.
Yeah.
And he's like, hold on, like each one of these paintings has its own mode, and then he referenced like the musical modes, and he's saying like this mode is used for like this is like a joyful celebration mode. You know, the thing that I painted you, it couldn't be that because that the subject matter called for a more serene, a more like melancholic mode, you know,
Yeah.
a darker, put the minor in.
Put the
you
minor
know?
in, right.
Put the minor in.
Right, right. Man, I love the correlation. I think that's why even I love going to the art museum, you know, because you could just see those resemblances in the two different art forms.
Totally.
You know, then where they are very different, you know, but there's a lot of things that are similar. But yeah, moving forward from more of the hand-to-hand combat, if you will.
Yeah.
How did that cross over into photography?
Yeah.
You know, getting you more into
Yeah.
the digital world. You
That's
know, I
it,
know you have
that's
a
it.
digital side to your art too.
That's it. And it's like, you know, we kind of get things come our way, and then we synthesize them into something else. So when I was my very good friend Pat, he gave me he went to school for photography in Chicago, and he had a badass camera, but he also had like we called it the baby cam. And so he gave me off the strength. He's like, look, you can take the baby cam. I want you to run with the baby cam and see what you can make happen with the baby cam.
Just get busy with it.
Right?
Yeah.
So I took the baby cam. It was like a Canon Rebel T2i. And so I took the baby cam. I think it was maybe my either my junior or senior year when I was at the institute. And
Is that like a college? Not to cut you off.
Cleveland Institute of Art.
But so is there like freshman and sophomore?
Yeah,
I mean, so
yeah.
it's like a 4-year thing.
4-year
Okay,
thing.
okay. I was just curious.
No, for sure.
Okay.
And then so I had the baby cam the last year, and I'm getting into like, all right, I'm coming out of this abstract phase, and I want to like imitate these like classical mythological paintings. So I'm using the camera to get the reference, photographing people, you know, a lot of times my family, my friends, and then I'm using those to, you know, through digitally I would kind of arrange the composition that I would go paint. And then, you know, when I got out of school, now I got the camera. Okay, so I started photographing myself. I did this series called basically The Selves, which I would just kind of like bug out and, you know, I'd paint myself in different ways and create these kind of like these cosmic characters or whatever, photograph myself, and then that just led into, you know, again, I was always making music, so I wanted to make a music video. Had the camera, so started messing around, experimenting with like, all right, making a music video. And then I think I made this one music video, and like I was so deep into it was like a music video, but there was like a prelude to it that was just like its own kind of video. And after I made that, I was like, I want to make films. Like that's what I can see now, you know, like, and then, so yeah, one thing led to the next. And then I started just getting into green screens.
Yep.
And then that's kind of where, all right, I photograph the model on the green screen, drop out the green screen. Now I can move them around. And it's basically what I'm doing with the digital pieces is it's just like, it's like a glorified collage. And then, you know, I'm just.
But it's not though, because that was my next point is collage. You beat me to it, but it's different than like traditional
it's
collage art.
It's like collage like that, because I was looking at it, I'm like I can't call it a collage, but it's like it gives me collage vibes, but other vibes too.
See, it's like what makes it not a collage vibe is that influence of like classical Renaissance painting, where like I'm putting in the shadows. So it's like you know, when you think of a collage, you think of like, all right, I'm going to take these elements and mash it all up, and it's kind of just going to be this thing. But whereas this
Very
one
flat still.
built flat, exactly.
Yeah.
Where this is like more about that illusion of space and creating this, you know, this illusion of space.
They're like floating around in there, but it's definitely it's planned on where everything is going to be, and everything looks very unique. Like everything can catch your eye, and you're like, okay, you know, oh, that's dope right there. And then your eyes move over here. It almost like you're looking at something totally different.
And so yeah, you know, it helps to describe it sort of like as a collage for people to understand how I'm moving the elements around. But the total impact of it is more or less like sort of like a painting.
Right.
You know,
right.
making a picture. You know, and yeah, it's really just about ordering elements. So you get your elements, you know, and then you just order them into the picture plane.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. Now the last collection that you had, is there a name of that collection that you're in right now?
Oh, are we talking about the inner museum, or?
I think is that with the grid backgrounds and.
So yeah.
Like your most recent.
So that is
work.
basically the stuff that I'm doing. I kind of, what I call those, it's just like an ongoing series. I just call them scenes.
Okay.
I mean, because that's basically what they
are.
They
feel like that, though.
Yeah, you know, they're just scenes. So, like, and I'm like, kind of like, I like to shoot from the hip, just meaning, like, I like to be, like, point blank. So it's like, we don't have to, it's just, they're scenes. You know what I mean? Like, I was calling them virtual scenes, but it's like, nah, just, they're scenes. Yeah.
Now, once you got into the film and you knew that you had an interest there, what did you run to really, or were you already kind of into it and didn't know, but in terms of directors and movies, what did you look to for like real inspiration at that point? Definitely.
The big directors obviously is Stanley Kubrick. That's one of my huge ones.
Yes, sir.
And I think that when I saw Space Odyssey 2001, and the first time I saw it, I was young. I was like 18, and you know, when you're young, things don't hit the same way. And then I saw it, you know, years later after I had grown and matured. And when I saw it that second time, that's when I thought, like, this was another moment where I was like, I really want to make movies. And because it was just something about, again, the way that everything's carefully set up and the way that the time he takes to really think about everything that's going on. It's the same way that you kind of think about what's going to go into a painting or what's going to go into one of these digital scenes,
Right.
and so that was a big one. But I really like the Coen brothers too.
Coen brothers.
Yeah, the Coen brothers. They've
You hip? I'm not hip.
yeah.
I'm left out. I'm the only one that don't know.
Well, they, yeah, the Coen brothers, man, don't sleep on them. But they came out with one of the big ones, The Big Lebowski. But
Okay.
that recently, like No Country for Old Men is one of them. But what I really appreciate about them is they take a scene like, just a mundane scene, like, even if we were just down in the basement, but then like through their movie magic, they just put this sheen on it. So it's like everything is like how it would be in real life, but just like this extra little polish to it that just makes everything kind of glitter.
Yeah, it
You
makes
know
it
what I
like
mean?
real dramatic. Like
Yeah.
makes like a normal setting look
That's-
super dramatic.
Is
right?
it
That's
like
exactly
Is
it.
it the lighting? Is it the lens of the camera? Like what? Is it?
I think it's like it's the composition and it's probably a lot to do with the lighting and the actors have a lot of role in creating that aura and that environment, but it's just that eye,
Yeah.
and it's certain things like it's just like why Kobe was Kobe or why LeBron's LeBron. It's like these guys they just have that eye and that when you have that Midas touch and it's like just okay, set it up, set up the scene. All right, I'm gonna they call it blocking. I'm gonna block it like this, and it's just like it's like he said, it looks just how it will be in real life, but just has that dramatic effect that's just mwah.
But it's like so relatable at the same time
because
it's like
real.
Yeah,
and
it's
it would
real.
just
So
be
it's like I was like that
somebody-
could be me
I know,
right now.
right? Exactly. So, but I mean, and then those. I mean, and then there's another filmmaker, Fellini, who was an Italian filmmaker, and he was like working probably in the 60s. He was probably doing his biggest work, and maybe in the 70s. But he was like a surrealist. He was doing he would make films that would be true to life, but then had certain instances where this surreal moment occurred.
Okay.
And just everything was very much taken to a theatrical level. There's another big director, Jodorowsky. And he did a movie called The Holy Mountain, which had like a cult following. And basically, like, I didn't even know about it. And then I had a girlfriend at the Institute, and she was like, "You remind me of the dude from Holy Mountain." And I was like, "What's Holy Mountain?" And then she showed me Holy Mountain, and I was like, my head exploded, man. And I was like, "What?" But, he's another one because he makes like, when he made his film, he had a bunch of artists actually help him and collaborate to do like, it was almost like installation pieces within the film, and it just made.
What year is this? Holy Mountain.
Holy Mountain is in the 70s. It's got to be in the 70s, but
Okay.
I can't put the date on it. But
I'm gonna look that one up.
yeah,
That
look
one-
it up,
that
man.
one
It's a
sounds
trip.
crazy.
When you see it, it's not really the easiest thing to watch, but it and there's a lot of differences as far as like what I would do as opposed to that, but that definitely has a lot of the core elements of like this idea of what you can do with film. That's very interesting. But then last, I just want to say lot of Japanese films. So I'm very much into Zen and that aesthetic of and the Japanese filmmakers. It's very, very different than like the films that are made in America. Especially the older ones like the classical, and then like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. These pictures, but again, for that, it's very much about composition and thinking about like how, all right, I'm going to arrange the space for the thing that I'm going to photograph. There's a specific director. His name was Seijun Suzuki. That's another big guy. Like for Busan, this guy Seijun Suzuki is another guy that's up there for me. He made a movie called Branded to Kill, which would have him be blacklisted from making films because the movie company said, hey man, you're making these movies that don't make any sense and you're not making us any money. So they blacklisted him.
You gotta go.
You gotta go. You are out, right?
Yeah, I'm out of here.
If it don't sell, you know.
if it don't,
if it don't sell, go to hell.
Right?
Yeah. So, but he had so much love for that film. Before that he did a film called Tokyo Drifter, which is pretty famous, and then he had such a following that 10 years later he was able to make it's they call it a trilogy, but it's not like sequential. They just call it his trilogy of these surreal. They're like ghost stories, and they changed my perspective on what I wanted to do with filmmaking as far as breaking continuity, you know, and like all the rules that are
Traditional
like
type
Western
Right,
cinematography. Yeah,
right.
like just throwing all that out the window. Yeah, so that's another one, Suzuki.
Man,
Yeah.
you gotta break the rules sometimes in art.
Yeah.
You gotta
Put
just
your own
like,
spin on it.
man, you gotta just do everything that they say that you should do. Just do exact opposite. Like if they say
Take a left.
if they
take a left.
take
bro.
a right. If
Yeah.
they say take a left. If they
Yeah,
say A
exactly.
sharp, I'm saying F flat.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like everything that they say, because that's where you find new things. That's where you find yourself. You know, sometimes I almost am jealous of people who have less musical knowledge than me that produce,
It's so true.
because they have this pure freedom of doing anything because they don't know music theory to say, oh, I learned in college
Yep.
that we shouldn't do that.
No, it's so
You
true.
know, and they don't even know that. Then they come up with this thing that's so different because they did what classically
you wouldn't
you
do.
would never do.
They literally are thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to, whatever's going on in their head, they don't know how to really do it. And so they just like, okay, I'm just going to hit this and see what happens.
Exactly.
Right?
But in our head, we'll think that same thing, and then the second thought, I'd be like, no.
I'll be like,
Yep.
is that in? I'll be like, is that in the key?
Right.
I'll be like, is that in the key?
Right. And then
Yeah.
you just
Like,
box
where am
yourself
I?
in and you like, man,
Yeah.
you're just getting too technical with it sometimes.
Too technical. It's so true.
Is there ways like? It seems like you found a way to be very free, in, like you said, in the scenes, in that type of
Yeah,
art.
definitely.
That you've just found a place that you just let it all run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and it's because that way, the way that I work in those digital scenes, the scenes is very intuitive, and it's very much kind of letting one thing lead to the next.
Yeah.
So like I might have a premise for one, but I might just design like a space, put a figure in, put some object, you know, and then just see how they're interacting, and then say, oh, you know what, that makes me think of this. So I'll go find something else, you know.
It's like a art rabbit hole.
So free association to the max, man.
Right. Like go into it with like a idea, but not a plan all the way to the end. So and then you let it lead you to where it goes.
That's absolutely right. And you know, coming from a background of like when you look at those mythological paintings, that has such a thing where it's like, all right, this is the meaning, right? Where as I got older, and even with filmmaking and thinking about Seijin Suzuki, it's like, you know what, maybe just have it be completely open-ended. Maybe, you know, it really, you know, to me, it will always make some sort of sense, but does it really have to make sense? Does it really have to have a meaning? And then it can just, what I call it is the floating meaning. So it's like, it's never landing. It never lands. It's always up in the air. There's always a bit of confusion. And it's like, how many times have you been like, you know, you may be confused and then you see something that you didn't see before, and you'd be like, oh, you know, actually, I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like whatever. It's like to the beholder, right? So they get to interpret it the way
Exactly.
that they see it, right? I'm not gonna tell you what it means.
No. The poetry's inside of us. All I'm doing is I'm just putting up a few images, and then they can start, you know, writing their own poetry inside of themselves.
It's whatever it's supposed to mean for you.
That's it. That's it. You know, that's the game.
Because you could have a meaning for one of your portraits,
and don't nobody.
but somebody else could seize this and be like, yeah, but it's making me think about this.
Exactly,
You know?
and
then
that's
and then it inspires you, and you like, dang, I didn't even see that.
for real.
You know?
No, for real. And then what you do is you say, oh, okay, let me take that gem and put it in my pocket.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
that
around
was
with
my
later on.
idea, actually, right?
That's right. That's right.
You spot on with it.
right, yeah. You know, you let everybody else tell you what it means.
Yep.
Be like, yeah.
Well, and that's a quick correlation on the music side, though. That's actually a sign of a good producer, though, because sometimes you need to hear and see where people are at versus you making whatever you want to make. At least in the music aspect, when you're trying to make music for artists and you're trying to sell beats and you're trying to make hit records or at least records that are engaging, you know, you have to know where people's mind is at, you know, because certain things won't work, you know, if you don't really know where they're at. You know?
Exactly. You gotta have that temperature check, that vibe check, because but you know, and then off of that you can kind of pivot. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can kind of let it go where it goes. So so even though I do say it's like I like to play with that being up in the air. There's always like a vertebrae to it that holds it together. You know what I mean?
Is your favorite color red?
No, you know what? Okay. When I was young, my favorite color was purple. You know what I mean? But the red for me, you know, it's just got that vibe, and it's like energy, you know, health, vitality, you know, maybe love, you know, it's also the blood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and
what inspires like your personal style? Cause like you go on there like you always dapper.
He dapper for sure. Look, I mean, y'all don't see the shoes.
Like, and I was like, cause look, I was about to come with just wear like my dad's shoes, and cause I was like, my feet aren't gonna show, but then I'm like, there ain't no half stepping, man.
Right. I gotta go all the way if I'm gonna do it.
I like that about you.
Right,
I like that.
Because I'm like, what if they want to take a flick and it's
you feel me?
That, you know, like it's not about whether they see the shoes or not.
The shoes were there.
It's the spirit.
Y'all don't see the shoes right now, but I'm pretty sure they're more fire than what you got on.
Right. but you know, I gotta be honest. A lot of it comes from my dad, man. Like he's he's the reason that I got the mustache and everything. But my dad, he wouldn't go this far, maybe to wear the all red or an all colored suit. But he would always have he'd have red lizard shoes, and I'd be like, man, like that's cool. You know what I mean? Like what's the essence of cool? And I'm like, yeah, those red lizard shoes. And then he maybe had the red lizard shoes with a red lizard belt. But just wearing maybe jeans and just keeping it natural, but just a little bit of that flash,
a little bit of razzle
exactly, a little bit of razzle dazzle in there, So, but then just being an artist, then I just want to kind of take that, and take it to the next level, and then it's like the colors, because I'm into the color and every color has a certain kind of projection or energy to it. So it's like when you're in the red, that means you're here for business. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're gonna etch yourself into the memory of people. With the red.
Ain't nobody gonna forget that the guy who walked in all red.
I put the red lights on too. Just in case he come with the red.
And then, but it's if you got the blue, then. It just makes the solid color just kind of has that feeling, that kind of feeling of it, it's, whether we call it an aura or whatever.
Red's an interesting color. It's like bright and dark at the same time. It's weird.
And and I feel like red is a dangerous color.
Yeah, I know it is.
You know what I mean? Because we see red.
Exactly. You see red, everything associated with something big happening or anger or whatever it may be. Red is involved in it.
Yeah,
or
red.
Super love though. Or how is
I mean?
it both? How is red both of those things?
It's just that passion. Yeah, passion. The red definitely is the passion.
Yeah. It's a good color.
Yeah.
But you said, what's your favorite color though?
I would, if I have to go with my OG color, it's purple.
Okay. Purple.
And
for sure.
purple, because then you got the red and you got the blue. You put them together. You know what I'm saying?
Purple's like that too, though. It's still kind of dark and light though, because they're all vibrant colors. Yeah. But it's still dark. It's one of the darker ones.
Purple is that cool, I mean, if you came in here in an all purple suit, I'm like, that's a pimp right there.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then it's like I'm telling, exactly, you coming out like a pimp now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I still do it, but it's just, I'm an artist, so it's
He
You
said,
know?
"I'm not a pimp. I'm just an artist."
Yeah, I'm just an artist. So you're saying.
That's what's up, though, man. Hey, let's go to our one of our segments called Top 3.
All right, let's
yeah.
go.
It's one of my favorite segments.
Yeah,
we
this is
just
a fun
gonna
one.
we just gonna throw you just random top 3s.
I got one.
Oh, he already did.
Yeah, because I
Jump
was
right
thinking
in.
about it right when he was talking about like comics and everything.
Oh, okay,
like that.
okay.
So, top 3 superheroes.
Man,
Comics
top 3. All right, so I gotta go with Spider-Man. That's number 1. That's the heart and blood.
Okay.
Spawn.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's next on the list. And then you know what's coming to mind is Wolverine.
Okay.
Wolverine.
You know,
That's solid.
Wolverine's coming to mind because, like, my cousin, man, he had the old school, one of the first Wolverine toy that came out when it was the brown. It was the brown and the orange, or the brown and the yellow Wolverine with the little mask. Lost the mask and shit, but, you know, it had the little retractable claws.
Yeah.
And Wolverine was big then. And I had a comic. It wasn't the original. It was a reissue of when Wolverine got his animanium pulled out, and that was just next level.
Yeah.
That was next level. So like Wolvie for me, yeah, I think
That's very
Wolvie.
respectable.
Yeah, you know, Weapon X.
Weapon X, yeah. Weapon X was
Yeah,
crazy.
for sure.
That was the one with the no mouth, right? Was that Weapon X that had
He was part. He was part of the Weapon, X program.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for
had
sure.
the one blade just came out his arm?
Ooh, and speaking of Omega Red was part of that Weapon X program. Yeah, so
Yep, that was some real dangerous people in that one.
yeah,
Right
you know,
there.
you don't want to just go for Wolvie because you know everybody like Wolverine is Wolverine, but honestly, like I'm feeling my childhood self, and he's saying Wolverine on that top
right.
3.
I mean, yeah, because like all of those ones right there, like, I mean, Wolverine is iconic. Right?
No, that's a very
right,
top
very
level
iconic and everything, and then
Yeah.
just like the way his powers are and
everything he's been through, going
everything.
through the era,
Man.
living so long,
and
and
you
like
to watch people die, and keep on
right,
moving
and it's
everything.
like he had that drama with like Logan and just you know trying to put it together with Jean and just like everything. It was
Hey, that man was just always struggling though. He on there.
he was always struggling.
He never really caught a
Right.
break.
He
like-
always lived in turmoil, like you said with Jean and everything. Like you over here watching a woman that you love, and she just love another dude. Like, you know,
bro.
you just gotta watch it. Like,
Right.
hey man, I'll just hope for the best for y'all.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
he died though,
Right, like
I'm coming back.
come
coming
talk
back.
to me. Come
Come
talk to me.
talk
Come
to
see
me.
me. Yeah, yep. But yeah, I like that one.
Okay,
I like
okay.
that one.
I know we was talking about music, so what's your top 3 albums?
Woo, whoosh. All right, I'm gonna just, you know, I'm not gonna think too hard about it. Man, that's rough, cause you got different genres. But
Let's just say hip hop then.
all right, let's do hip hop. That really helps me. So I'm gonna say Cuban Links, only built for Cuban Links.
okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna say Illmatic,
Okay.
and I'm gonna say Reasonable Doubt.
that's good stuff right
And
there.
I'm just gonna black out on that.
Yeah, that's
one. Like,
hey.
that's
Okay. Now
it.
what about rock?
Rock? All right, so for rock,
Yeah,
man,
we gotta get some. We gotta get another genre.
You
in
know
there.
what? That room's hard, but like I'm gonna say, let's go David Bowie, Hunky Dory.
Okay.
Then let's
I
go.
know you said you like David Bowie for sure.
yeah, for sure. Then let's go the Cars album,
Okay.
and then what can I put into that third position? I'm gonna have to go with, you know what? I'm gonna have to go with man, I'm not sure the album, but anything from T-Rex, Mark Bolan, like he had a couple different ones. Like he had this one called Tanks.
Okay.
I forget which exactly like my favorite songs from him are, but like yeah, it might be Tanks, like, but definitely some Mark Bolan for that glam Rizak.
Glam Rizak.
That
Right.
glam
Big hair.
Rizak, right?
Mm-hmm.
What a time to be alive, man.
Man, for sure.
Like people were really out here dressing like that.
Man.
Like that was the norm.
Hold on, I
man.
gotta go
Yeah.
put my eyeliner on real
Yeah,
quick.
you know what I
Like, he's a
mean?
grown man, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine being like in the room when Kiss is getting ready. Right?
Oh,
These,
man, forget
these
about
grown
it.
men out here putting on white paint.
I know, right?
tights, leotards.
Right. It's all leather, and they going out there and killing it.
Sweating.
Yeah, but all them
Sweating
dudes
out.
out there. I mean,
yeah,
they was
all the girls.
all them like that glam rock man. All them dudes could sing though
Yeah,
too. Like
No,
they could
no,
blow.
no, don't take it. Don't
man,
get it
man.
twisted.
And you know, but that's the ladies love that.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
don't
yeah.
underestimate that play.
Nope.
Don't underestimate that eyeshadow play.
No, I mean, look, you got somebody named Prince, and we all know what Prince was about.
Yeah, for sure.
Prince was getting it.
Yeah, he was getting it.
Yeah.
Prince was getting it for sure.
Yeah, man.
That was a crazy time of entertainment, though.
Yep.
You know,
No, for
entertainment
sure.
isn't the same way.
No,
You
it's-
know, I know you had mentioned just something like 21 Savage. You
Oh,
know?
yeah,
and I know
for
that's
sure.
hip hop still,
Big.
but it like I feel like even in other genres though, the entertainment value to me is still very low.
It's
You
like
know?
Yeah.
people are they so afraid to take risks now.
Well, yeah.
Right? So they see what's working for someone else, and they'll just try to like emulate that, right?
Clones.
Versus like
Attack of
industry
the clones,
plants, all
bro.
that stuff.
Attack
you
of
know?
the Clones.
Attack of
right?
the Clones.
So
Yeah.
and that's why you don't get as much creativity. I mean, it's still some good stuff out here, but
Yeah.
you know, it's nobody who's out there really breaking the barriers or anything.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and I mean, like, I guess I was staying real, more old school with it, but like, you know, I really do like as far as hip hop, like I do give it to Drake, and I like Future and you know just stuff like that. That's real like mellow, just in the pocket, and you know, but like I love the melodic stuff, you know, that's come into it. But yeah, it's different, you know, and I feel like part of that reason that the clones are so prevalent is just because the rapidity of like how music is moving nowadays. So you know, there's nothing wrong with like taking somebody to the lab, gestating on it, and then kind of reformulating it. You know, Camp Low is actually I should have mentioned Camp Low. Yeah, you know what, the Camp Low Uptown Saturday Night, that's definitely up there for me too, because that was a group that I really was influenced by. But you know, there's just not enough time for you to take it all to the lab. You have to come out, you got to come out, you know, yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, what's hot? Boom, we're gonna go like that.
What you got? You got another top 3, Justin?
Yeah, so you know we got since we always got to keep it Cleveland. You know, I feel like this is our show is also kind of like the Cleveland tourism guide. So we always got to get some Cleveland stuff in here.
for sure.
That's right.
So I would say top 3. I always try to get people to go eat somewhere. Top 3 places in Cleveland to eat.
That's right.
Oh man, that's crazy. But you know where I hit up a lot? I like to hit up Pacific East on Coventry. For,
Japanese.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's
And
good
then
stuff.
you
Yep,
know
been
what?
there one
Like
time.
I'm just gonna go like just straight. There's this place called Los Arcos. Like my
Uh-oh.
place, Los Arcos,
Uh-oh.
for the Mexican.
Where's this at now?
This is family friendly. Come in, sit down. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself some steak fajitas. It's I feel like it's not too far from here. I feel like it's somewhere over, you know, Mayfield or
What's it
something
called again?
about that. Los Arcos.
Los Arcos.
Yeah, it's
I'll be
just
hitting
it's,
them up.
Yeah,
for
be
sure. I
checking
mean,
that
it's
out.
not like you know, it's not like 5 stars. No, you know, super cuisine, you know, plated and crazy. It's just like go get your steak fajitas. You know what I mean?
And they're going to smack.
And it's
Yep.
exactly it's gonna
That's all I want.
smizzag.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
I don't need a great experience, you know. So I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
That's
Yeah,
right.
man. That's what's up. Yeah, man. So man, the third spot. That's tough, man. I'm gonna just, you know, I gotta say I'm not the biggest like restaurateur, so
Foodie,
like
okay.
that. But yeah, I'm gonna just pause on that one.
Okay, that's all
Yep.
good. That's
yeah,
all good.
for sure.
Yep.
But
said-
that Los Arcos though.
He said, as long as I got them steak fajitas,
I'm saying
I'm
the
good
Los
right there.
Arcos.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm repping for Los Arcos for real. It's number 1.
That's what's up.
Yep.
Are you a car guy?
I mean, I'm a car guy. I don't really know my cars, but
Okay.
I definitely want to get myself a pink Cadillac with purple velvet crushed interior before it's all said and done. And that was an idea that was given to me by my father. He said, get the purple Cadillac, the old school convertible, and get it with the crushed velvet, the purple crushed velvet interior. So that purple and pink, if we talking about pimping.
No,
Right,
that.
no,
right.
right? Like,
And it's a
I'm like-
convertible too?
yeah, with the
And
convertible.
you gonna have to get out of it in a pink suit.
That's what. Well, yeah,
You gonna have
exactly.
to.
I'll rock a pink suit with the purple dress shirt and keep it 100. Yep. But like, yeah, I like old school cars, man. Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know all the names in that, but like, yeah, those old.
You can't go wrong with a good Cadillac.
Because of the era that I was in, like, my dad, he had a Buick, and then like it wasn't like a raw car or anything, but it was just the boats. I like the boat cars,
big bodies,
those big body boat cars, square before everything turned round.
I mean, look, you could hit something in that thing, you
wouldn't even notice it.
Just keeping it moving.
And then my friend back in our heyday. He had a Lincoln, and he would just push the Link around, man, and we would just chill in the Link. Like, we would just have the Link parked outside his grandma's crib, and we would just be chilling in the Link.
Yeah.
Just sitting
in the car. That was the chill spot.
Doing our thing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, getting right.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
That's what it was there
in those days, yeah.
Man. See, that was because you were 80s baby?
Yeah, I think I'd probably be. I'm really a 90s baby. I'm born 87. So I feel like that technically doesn't, but I feel like an 80s baby because
it's right on the cusp, kind of.
And then growing up,
in the 80s, raised in the 90s.
Having an older sister, and she's flooding you with all that that hot pink funk of the 80s. Like she had this hot pink skateboard, and all the music and everything. So like I feel like it percolated to me. You
were getting both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was getting both sides, but I won't go out and because I don't want the real 80s babies to come knocking on my door.
Right, like, you know what I'm saying? You won't know nothing about no crack.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right.
People who was born in 80.
Yeah,
that's a true 80s
and that's
baby.
when you really came through the 80s.
Yeah, you came through.
Yeah, but 87.
87?
87 on that Desert Storm, that Operation Desert Storm.
I was out here in 90. You feel me?
90,
90, we was out here.
Yep,
I was right there, 86.
86.
See? Man, what a time back then, though, man. Like, imagine a time where there was no cell phones. You couldn't just call somebody immediately. You couldn't just, I'm hungry, let me go DoorDash some food.
Oh.
Like,
different ball game.
You had to go in the house to see what was in there. Like,
and say, I want a girlfriend, let me go on this app. Ain't none of that.
Different
Ain't no
game.
Tinder.
Yeah.
No. I want to listen to some music. Let me just go on this website. It got everything. No, you going to go find one of these boys right here.
Yep.
Or a tape, a cassette
and
tape.
You better hope that needle ain't broke or you ain't listening to nothing.
That's
go to that radio.
Yeah, you're going to listen to whatever on the radio. Or you go outside and play. When you was gone, you was gone.
Yeah.
Like, no one knew you were until you came back.
No,
you had a whole journey that day, and then you came back home.
Yeah, man. That's for sure.
There's nothing else to do in the house unless you go back to the radio.
Right.
Man.
Imagine streaming. Like, no, you had, 5 stations?
But I'm saying, and then, like, we hit with the NES. So, like, that was huge for me. The Nintendo, that original Mario, that bright blue with those wisps of clouds. Man, to me, and that's what I'm saying, those wisps of clouds and those bricks, man, and just breaking bricks,
and that
bro.
didn't work, you like...
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Right?
I'm going to get it all out.
There was always someone that had the magic, that had the magic one and would just
play this game.
Yeah, exactly. Hitting the reset on it. But yeah, I was talking to someone that I work with about that. It's just like, but now that the cell phones and all the technology is here, you don't really think about it not being here. But when you were coming up, it was different.
Yeah.
It was different. I miss it a little bit, but it's all good. It just is what it is.
It just seems like people were more in tune. Like right now, they try so hard to be in tune, right? They're trying so hard to be woke. They try so hard to be just open and just this concept of free. Whereas in the 80s or the 90s, it just was that. Yeah. You just woke up and you just went, right?
Yeah, that's true.
There was not anything, let me go check this. Let me go look at this. Let me go post on here. Let me go see what somebody said. Let me go see what these numbers looking like. Let me go see if somebody liked my picture. Let me go take another picture. It was none of that. It was just wake up and be you. Wake up, live your life.
And
wake up.
What you going to do that day.
Figure out what you're doing.
You walk outside and then you would just be walking up and down the street. Oh, that's happening. And you just fell into it.
And fell right into it. Yeah. Or you had something that you were working towards, or dates that were coming up. Things, events, I feel like hit bigger then. Whereas like the event we just had, the game night, right? It was a good time. It was a really good time. Or even like the exhibit, right?
Sure.
It's a good time, but it's back then I feel like things hit would have. I mean, I mind you, in the 90s I was nothing, but I would imagine that things hit bigger because the event was bigger. You know, it's
Yeah,
like you
that's
looked
for
forward to
sure.
these things. You know,
No, that's for
there
sure.
there wasn't even any way of capturing this later unless you had some type of camera. Maybe you had something.
Man, we wanted a camera so bad. We wanted one of those fat boys with the actual VHS tape. We would have died for that if we
Yeah.
had
Oh, yeah,
that,
that'd
man,
be
just
crazy.
to record.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now it's like you got it on your phone and you just like, man, I'm good. I don't need to capture.
I was
it.
talking to old girl today. She goes say that. Wouldn't that be crazy if Apple came out with their own cameras? Because we were talking about Nikons and Sonys. I was like,
Right.
you know, that's called the iPhone 14,
Yeah,
right?
you know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
got one in your
right,
hand right now.
exactly.
But the point I've said even to her was these phones are so crazy. You know, I was listening to an interview with the dude who created Rolling Loud. He doesn't own a laptop. He said, "I don't need it for what? I got everything on my phone.
Yeah.
Like these phones are so powerful." You know, and it's just I don't know. When I just think about it, you know,
It changed the
90s,
internet, too. Like, 'cause
it's
we
so
were-
different, bro.
Yeah, the internet, the first internet used to be different. It used to be the Wild West. It used to be, off the chain. And
anything
the
could
whole
go.
layout of everything was different. I miss some of that stuff, you
Hey,
know?
it's-
And now it's just like, all right, you got the hamburger, and that's that. Like, and then it's mobile.
You would hop on
know?
the internet. First of all, you had to hit the dial up, so you had to go
Right.
through all that first, and then
You literally .com in
yeah,
it.
you .com in that boy, and then like you had to know exactly what
Where
the
it
websites
was.
where you were going and everything like that. So you had to hear from somewhere else. You couldn't just, I mean, you could Google some stuff, but you couldn't like it wasn't like that, right?
No,
So
it
you
was
couldn't
not
Google
like
something to get a
that.
whole bunch of different pages that do the
No.
same thing. You had to know that one website that you would go to, right?
Yep,
From
Spawn.
someone
I
else.
had to go to the library, spawn.com.
Yeah.
I'm
Spawn.com.
looking at spawn.com. I'm like, what's the new toy?
Yeah.
Oh, man, just loving it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely had to know that .com.
I was just thinking about the other day too. It was like chat rooms.
Oh, man,
Man,
for
we
real.
was like that. We
Chat
go to
rooms,
Yahoo
bro.
Chat rooms.
In there with people from all over just
Yeah.
talking.
Just talking.
Just
didn't know.
talking.
Had your little avatar. Like,
Yep.
we used to have these little hip-hop avatars with the baggy jeans. And I was like, man, in the world, all I wanted to do was be able to edit my own and put it up in the forum.
Yeah.
Like, if I could do that, jeez.
Hey, those chat rooms are wild, bro.
Hey, it used
Yeah,
to be
man.
going down in those chat rooms.
This chat rooms is wild.
Yeah, man.
I'm just trying to think
Different
like
era.
it's like almost like Clubhouse. I'm just trying to think the closest thing to just like an open world chat room, if you will, the way it used to. Like Clubhouse was kind of like that, but it's like you can't all talk at the same time, and there people are just
Type.
the chats is
it's
just
like,
rolling.
It was like
right?
Twitter, but it was like Twitter, but not everybody was in each chat room.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
exactly. And you'd have a certain one, like my dude Sam. He's a big Twitcher. I should probably link y'all to him.
Yeah.
he's always on there freestyle rapping. But like, yeah, he used to have his specific like Yahoo, rap
This
chats.
man just
that
said
he did.
Yahoo.
Yep.
Yeah, his
Yahoo chat rooms
Woo!
used to go.
No,
the
Yahoo.
hooligans.
Yep.
What you know about the Yahooligans?
Yeah,
That's
them
so
Yahoo
old, bruh.
hooligans, bro.
That's crazy. Yeah, you remember Axe
Man.
Jeeves?
Oh
Actually,
man,
yep.
but yeah,
That was
but
a
yeah,
good one, yep.
that was different, man. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
The internet in general was fun.
Yeah,
Like anytime I was about to get on the internet, I was like, yo, I'm about to end up on something. I don't even know. You know?
right.
I just don't even know. And it all happened like at school for me a lot of times too. So you just talk to another kid and he knew this website. You
Yup.
talk to another like, you been on this website?
Yeah.
You been on this? You seen this game over here? Then when the games came in,
Oh
forget
man,
about
game,
it.
It was
game
over with.
facts. Man, it got me through a lot of tough situations on the game, man.
There was this.
oh, you
game-
talk about like video. I'm talking
Yeah.
about like computer games.
Oh yeah,
Computer
yeah. I was
game.
talking
the,
about like game
like
facts,
the mini
like,
games.
Like I forgot who I was talking to like about like game facts because you got to give a shout out to all those people.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like cause
Game
like
FAQs,
yeah, mhm,
man. If
yeah.
it wasn't for that, man,
Man.
I'd be still lost in
like
Final
these people
Fantasy.
like you said, it used to be people that go on there and they would give you the whole walkthrough
the walk
for a game.
Yeah.
So you got to imagine like this is a person now you can just go in and give somebody a walkthrough and just play through it and just put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
No, these people would go through it and then type up a whole long tutorial on it. I mean, format it correctly and everything like that. Man, that's a lot of work and a lot of time.
Lot
Shout
of
out to
work.
those people.
Yeah, shout out to those people.
There's a lot of people
All
doing a
heroes
lot
don't
of
wear
typing
capes,
work.
man.
All heroes don't wear capes.
That's
A
for
lot of
sure.
people were putting in work on it. All them the bloggers, like people were putting in work like typing on
Yeah.
the internet a lot. Like a lot of like everything was like word content.
Yeah.
You know, now like video is like king now, right?
Yep.
But it wasn't that much video before. It was like all
Blog.
text like text was it all.
Yeah,
That's all it was.
That's
Yep.
true. That's true.
Really
Yeah.
before like Like Yahoo had a little bit of video.
But then the YouTube dropped it.
Yeah,
I'm just
YouTube
trying to think
killed the
before
game.
YouTube though. Like it
You would just go to specific websites and they would have something.
They
on
might
there,
just
right?
have a video there.
One website.
Like remember Rotten.com?
Rotten.com. Low key.
So they would show like all kinds of like crazy.
I think I remember
I
that.
didn't
crazy
mess
stuff.
with it. I didn't
Yeah,
really
it was
get
pretty
down
dark.
with that. It
was
was
dark.
dark. But I do remember there was a DBZ website, and I would go there and I'd watch some DBZ, and I would be hyped, man. I'd be hyping off of it. They'd have stuff we couldn't get. Like they had Dragon Ball GT at that time, and I would just be like watching. It might be a music video or something with the Dragon Ball Z thing, and I would just be hyped, man.
Yeah, we used to be really stoked for videos, like always. Like the music videos for sure.
Yeah.
What a time, man. Now, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it just don't even care anymore. Meaning, like, it just doesn't hit the same because it's so everything is so
at your hand.
so accessible.
The thrill
like,
is gone.
the thrill is.
That's exactly what the thrill
That's
is.
what
gone,
I'm getting
y'all.
at. The thrill is gone.
Flatlined.
It's crazy, man.
Flatline.
Flatline.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like other day too. I was thinking like early YouTube, like so like mid 2000s, early 2000s YouTube, and like those type of videos, man. You ain't never gonna get that type of stuff, man. People was doing, they was putting wild stuff on there, man. I always try to get a chance. And like if someone's never seen it, it's Unforgivable. I'm like, oh, you got to watch Unforgivable.
That's so old though.
Man,
Is that at least like 10?
Unforgivable?
Yeah,
you
that's
never-
so old.
I
Oh,
feel
no,
like I
remember.
You
probably
probably
have,
did,
but
but
it's
if
been a minute.
once we get over here, we playing Unforgivable.
No, yeah.
Yeah, man.
You remember that's one of the first videos I remember on,
Yeah.
on YouTube that in terms of like viral.
Yeah.
It had to be one of the first viral videos.
The viral.
Viral.
Yep, that was
You
one of the
know?
first ones. Everybody was talking about that.
That's crazy.
Remember
yeah.
MySpace? I know you remember MySpace.
Oh, dude, I got big down. I got real down with MySpace.
Yeah.
I love MySpace.
Now
You know
what?
why?
Where were you at during that era in terms of your art?
Ooh, yeah. So in that era, that was before I went to school. So in that era, I was doing just a lot of drawing in sketchbooks with.
Okay.
I work with color pencils,
Okay.
markers. Not really doing a lot of painting, but these kind of like. I would take shapes and I would kind of like make them flat, so that it would just be like, it might just be like I take like a lamp and it would just be like almost like a silhouette. Like I was working with these colored silhouette shapes that I would smash together. But in that era, see, I love MySpace because you could have your little song playing.
Yeah,
on your
super
thing.
customizable.
And then I'd always have like my song, and then I'd had my music page too. Like you got to have your music page, right? And I was just like hyped.
You remember when you first posted some of your art on the internet for the first time?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think I was getting down with a little bit of the deviant art stuff,
Okay.
like posting there. Yeah, that's foggy now.
It is. I
That's
mean,
foggy.
it's slowly. I mean, we remember it, but it's a ways away. And there's been so much has been crammed in the time since then that it's changed. You know, it's not really that long of a time,
It
but
isn't.
technology moves
Just-
so fast. There's been so much has been crammed. Like
It's so
we've been through
dense.
so many models of like we're on iPhone 14 now. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
sir.
Like so much technology has
They
been crammed
constantly
in there.
improving stuff over and over. So,
So
something
quick.
that you get right now in a couple months, it's old.
already
Over
old.
with.
It's
Over with.
already old.
I mean,
So,
we'll
like,
have a new iPhone by the end of this year, I'm sure.
And but that's kind of like tapping into some of the stuff that I'm working on with the scenes and the way I kind of play off that. They call it like low polygonal, because I'm coming up from an era that it was Star Fox. You know what I mean? You had like Star Fox, the first Star Fox. You had like, and they were trying to go 3D, but they just couldn't really get
the
it on.
technology just wasn't there yet.
But it's like, for me, it's like I love that it's so nostalgic. It takes me back to a place that so it's like, all right, so sometimes like in the pieces that I'm working on, it might be a little like down res, or it might have a little bit of that element to it purposely, that it's looking like, oh yeah, that's kind of like,
You want a little crackle when you sample off the vinyl.
you need
That's
that
what you want.
crackle from that
You want a little
vinyl,
crackle
bro.
from that
Exactly,
vinyl. That's what
yeah.
you're talking about.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like so it's like, yeah, it's just, it goes so fast. It's already old, and it's like, you know what? Let's go back to it. Get on that Tron level. You know what I mean?
Tron
That
level.
Tron verse.
I mean, it's all in its cycles anyway. You know, the Y2K is starting to kind of hit a little bit.
yeah.
These things come back around. And then
Yep.
then you start seeing, even in film, people want to have a little bit of that grain.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
that's
versus
the
like
thing.
this pristine
Digital Christmas, and in
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
like that's one of the things that I ran up against is like when I was working on my I have a lens, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, this thing is too sharp. I've actually got to go in there and soften it because like the movies that I'm studying, they're soft. They have a soft focus. The light is very it like they call it blooming. The light kind of blooms, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's time to take off a little bit of that digital sharpness, get that grain, because the grain is like its own, like it gives it life to it to have that like pulsating grain. You know,
I like Tarantino for some of his films like that.
Yeah, see, and I mean, I should say that like I talk about filmmaking, but you know, the actual filmmakers would like bust my chops about it because obviously I'm working digitally.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So, so I say it's motion picture. So the film, because like sometimes the film buffs they'll be like, no, I work in film.
Right.
And I'm like,
okay,
all right, I got you. I get it.
Disrespect you,
I get
man.
it. Yeah, but not everybody's afforded Tarantino to have like his Super 70, his Super 70 film and everything.
Right.
So it's like we just got to roll with what we roll with.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll add the grain in post.
That's right.
If that's what y'all want, I got you.
Yes, sir. Hey, man.
Yep.
It's been a fire conversation.
Yes,
This has been fun.
I
I really
must say.
appreciate it.
Oh no, I appreciate you. We
Thank
both.
for coming on through.
Yeah,
for
thank you
sure.
for hopping on, man.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
like I said, I was at the art show and I wasn't there to see your work, but by the time I had left, I was thoroughly impressed and inspired.
I appreciate it.
So
Yup.
this means a lot. Definitely having you on StreamSpace.
Definitely.
Anything we can do moving forward to collab or help your movement,
We're in
we
there.
part of the family now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know it.
Oh, and before we leave, let the people know how they can find you.
Oh, you can find me at I'm mostly just Instagramming, so you can find me at First Painter, just spelled out as it is, and you'll see my work posted there. You can find me at TobyGriffiths.com. I definitely need to update my website, but just bear with it. You know how we do. And that's basically it.
You got anything coming up? Any shows, exhibitions?
Just had the Inner Museum that's running at Shop Impossible on Detroit across from Spaces. I got the grant from Spaces to do that. That's
Nice.
gonna be running until
Congratulations
July.
on that too, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
man, that was big.
It's live right now.
Yeah, it's live right now. It's in there right now
Until
July 22nd.
Okay, yeah, we got to tap in.
Yeah, and July 14th, I got a piece that's going to be in the CIA, Cleveland Institute of Art alumni show. Nice. So, if you're around there, check that out.
Yeah.
And then, basically, I got the short film that I shot last summer with my dear friend James Williams playing Brother Joy.
Okay.
The name of the short film is called Brother Joy, so I'm about to return to editing that.
Okay.
And then I've got a little music stuff in the that I'm tinkering with the Kissing Fish. We talked about that.
That's right.
So I'm gonna try to put out some music over the summer. Just stay loose.
Yeah.
Stay loose. Stay loose, and just get everything on point with Brother Joy.
Nice.
Can't wait to see all of it.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, I'm
for
tapped
sure,
in. Yeah, I'm
for
tapped
sure,
in for sure.
definitely,
Do you have a physical prints of some of your stuff?
Physical prints of the work.
Yeah.
Or
Any work, anything.
Oh yeah.
Yo,
No,
okay, yeah.
So that's another thing that I'm doing. I'm definitely about to. I've got prints of the stuff that was in the Awful Friends.
Right.
But I'm about to go on a big print run and frame up some stuff.
Okay.
I'm thinking about a friend of mine, Elle. She's trying to put together a show towards the end of the summer.
Okay.
So I'll probably have some stuff going in there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fire, man.
Yeah,
But yeah,
for sure.
thanks again for hopping on the show.
Thank
This is
you.
StreamSpace. This is our podcast, episode 9. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Not really. It's only the 9th episode.
Right.
Sure.
There's some podcasts that got hundreds of episodes.
We just on our way. We on our way there though.
We on our way.
That's it.
Climbing up the mountain.
That's right. We're climbing up that mountain. What's at the top of the mountain? Another mountain.
Another mountain.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
so
climb that
that's-
one too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Yep.
right. Definitely like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram as well. And there'll be more. Stay tuned for the next one.
stay tuned, and just want to send my love to everybody and let you know God is good.
God is definitely good all the time. Thank you for everybody that's been out here watching. It's been a good time. Like and subscribe. Definitely tell your grandma about this.
Oh yeah.
Let her know. Tell her to go watch the podcast. She might like it.
Tell her to
No.
subscribe to. I know your grandma got an IG and a YouTube channel.
Grandma, I'm not a pimp.
At this point, all the grandparents got Facebook at least now.
Right. They got something.
Right.
He said, "Grandma, I'm not."
I didn't see him before.
Right. He's trouble.
He's trouble. All right, y'all. We up out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.